Alright, let's just get this out of the way right now. Can you believe Forrest Gump? Yes, that Forrest Gump ran across the entire country? Not once, but twice, for no reason other than, well, he was bored. Like, that's how this whole movie starts. He literally just starts running, and people are like, hey, if he's doing it, why not me? So what does everyone do? They follow him. If that doesn't tell you something about the power of simplicity, I don't know what will. Let me set the stage for you. Here we've got Forrest, a guy who's got the mental capacity of, well, a rock. But he's a kind-hearted guy with a heart of gold and somehow, against all odds, ends up becoming one of the most legendary figures in American history. I mean, the guy ends up meeting the president, not once, but multiple times. And he's sitting there clueless, with a grin on his face like, I just like running, that's all. Can you believe that? A guy who probably couldn't solve a simple math problem ends up shaking hands with every major political figure of the time. He even invests in Apple. Apple, the company that revolutionized the world, and he does it with zero understanding of what the hell he's doing. He's literally just like, my friend Bubba told me to buy stock, so I did. That's it. He just accidentally becomes a genius investor without knowing a thing about it. But hold up, let's talk about Jenny. You know Jenny, the one that got away. This guy spends his entire life loving this woman, and for some reason, she keeps running away. She's out there doing all kinds of crazy stuff, living the rock and roll life, dancing on stage, and hanging out with musical legends. Meanwhile, Forrest is out there being the perfect man, and she can't figure it out. Like, it's one of the most infuriating love stories you'll ever see. Every time Jenny pops up, you're just like, come on, Jenny. He's been waiting for you, and you keep messing it up. Now, let's talk about his time in the military because wow. This guy somehow manages to save the day during a Vietnam War ambush, getting a Medal of Honor for his heroic actions. He doesn't even know what he did. He was just trying to find his friend Bubba. And in the process, he ends up saving all kinds of lives and earning the highest military honor for a guy who doesn't even understand war. Let that sink in for a second. He didn't have a plan. He didn't have a strategy. He didn't even want to go to Vietnam. He just followed orders. And boom, he's a hero. And then there's the part where Forrest just decides to start running. It's not like he had some grand goal or purpose. He was just bored. So he started running, and for 3 years straight he ran across the entire country. Like, can you even imagine this? The guy had nothing else to do, so he just decided to run and people, strangers, started following him. You know, just like we follow trends on TikTok today. But he wasn't running for fame, fortune, or anything. He was just running for the sake of it. What an absolute legend. Now let's talk about that whole, life is like a box of chocolates thing. This line became iconic, right? But here's the thing, Forrest didn't know what it meant. He didn't care. He wasn't sitting around trying to overthink life. He was just living. He was the kind of guy who would take life's challenges head on, without questioning every little thing. You could say he was the original minimalist. I mean, if the guy had any idea how famous that line would become, he probably would have just kept running with it. Oh, and let's not forget how he just gets lucky over and over. He meets the right people at the right time. And then somehow his life becomes a series of freak coincidences that put him in all these incredible situations. It's almost as if life is just giving him free passes, and he's like, okay, sure, I'm in. So here's what really gets me. This whole movie, his whole life, could have been a disaster. But somehow, Forrest takes every bizarre thing that happens and turns it into some sort of crazy success. Whether it's running across the country, starting a shrimp company, or becoming a national hero, this guy just keeps winning without trying. But the real kicker? The way it ends. Forrest goes through life with this whole, I'm just a simple guy attitude, and then boom, he gets the most unexpected twist of all. He ends up raising his son, and showing him the same simple love he's always had. The thing that gets to me is, throughout all the insanity of his life, he's always remained grounded. He's always been there for the people he loves. And in the end, that's what makes him the ultimate winner. So let me ask you this. If you were Forrest Gump, would you even understand how lucky you were? Would you realize that while everyone's out here making plans and calculating their next big move, sometimes the best thing to do is just run when you feel like it? It sounds dumb, but that's what makes Forrest Gump one of the most endearing and ridiculous characters to ever exist. If you haven't seen it yet, you better watch this movie. It's a roller coaster of incredible coincidences, unbelievable luck, and random life events that somehow come together to create something unforgettable. If Forrest Gump can achieve all of that without ever really trying, maybe we should all take a page out of his book and stop overthinking everything. So there you have it, Forrest Gump, a movie about the ultimate underdog who turned every situation into a victory and somehow won life without even knowing it.